Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Spokespeople Podcast, brought to you by Omaha, The Bikeway. For 25 years, serving the greater metropolitan area, I am your co-host, Dave, and we are really, really happy because the last time we did a podcast, my co-host was a little bit sick, so he was unable to attend. So we're really excited to have the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Randleman.
But
there you go, Dave.
by sick, you mean hungover, but it's all good.
Either way,
Yeah.
brown bottle flu is the same as sick.
Yeah.
It's a medical diagnosis.
It is
if
a
you know
medical
that.
diagnosis, and you were a flight nurse, so you should know.
Yes. So there are treatment plans for that, though. I do have some methodologies for
I'm
that.
going to treat myself when I get off this job right here. So
There
I'm
you
good.
go.
All right.
So Dave and I got done, along with Ken. We did the bike ride across Nebraska beginning of June. Went off very, very well. We had a great time. We're hoping to get some of our previous guests back on to talk about the successes of it. Doug Shirley was the executive director of that program, and this was his last year, so he is retiring, and they got a new person coming on, so hopefully we'll be able to get them on in the future and talk a little bit more about brand. They did do some unique things differently this year and made some major changes, added some gravel rides and a complete day off where people just hung out in the town and did just all kinds of events and stuff like that. It was kind of fun.
Mostly drinking, though.
There was mostly drinking there, which,
Yeah.
yes, which...
Drinking and canoeing.
Yes.
Which is a great combo.
Unless
You're a safety person, and then it's a bad combo.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not a safety person.
No,
so.
me neither. Safety sucks.
Yeah. So right now, with our new show that we have going on, I want to introduce our latest guest here. Been trying to get him on for a while, but he had a little bit of a life change, and we'll address that here shortly. We were unable to talk to him before the hand, and Dave and I both being older
You're
men
making it
and
sound like he had
experienced.
surgery or something.
Well, it's kind of. You basically have something pretty much removed from your flesh. So, but I'm introducing James Krist, who is the executive director and the head of NOS, Nebraska Off-Road Series. So, James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you. You nervous at all about being, here on the podcast?
I just, it's another microphone in front of my face, so I've got a little bit of experience with that now. So I'm sure we'll have a fun next hour or so talking about things.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself for the people who don't know.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I am the series director for the Nebraska Off-Road Series. I've been doing that for almost the past 3 years now, and that's probably the primary role that people know me as in the cycling community here. Beyond that, I ride a lot of bikes, do a lot of different things, and do a little bit of other things during the day.
There we go. There you have it.
What's your real job, James?
I am a project engineer during the day, so I'm a project manager who with an engineering background. That's primarily what I do.
Okay. Well, that works. So you've been running the NOS for almost 3 years now. Mm-hmm. This is the third season, I believe.
It sure is.
One question we ask everybody who comes on, because we always like to know why, but what got you into cycling?
Probably a pretty similar story to everyone else. Of course, parents got me on a bike at a young age, and I kind of ran with it. It was my freedom to get around the neighborhood. My mom, by no means, was keeping us close to home, so we were able to, if we had a bike, we could get a few blocks away and go see our friends that might live a little ways down the block. That turned into delivering newspapers by bike, and then after that, it turned into not too far from my house is the Field Club Trail here in Omaha. Mm-hmm. And I quickly found out there was a mountain bike trail right alongside that was made by a guy in my neighborhood. And that's kind of really what got me hooked on cycling, was taking my Walmart bike up and down that little half-mile section of single track there time after time after time. And just, I couldn't get enough of it. I would spend every day going back and riding it, and that's what really got me hooked. That quickly turned into me mowing lawns for a summer to buy a nice bike, and then
A nicer Walmart bike.
I got a Specialized. I got
That's an upgrade.
Got a last year's model. Really went for it. So
you got a Giant with a Specialized sticker.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, yeah, and by all means, it was my prized possession. I had my nice bike, and
Dave with the product plugs already.
oh, I know you got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta do it.
You guys, if you've ever seen the movie Platoon, and they got Junior, and Junior says, "Hey man, free your mind, your ass will follow." I mean, that's a big point. So you just got to, the more you know, right?
The entire movie is quotable. So
Yeah, it absolutely is. So let's talk a little bit about NOS, because it's a fascinating process that you guys do. It's I can't imagine it's not a ton of work.
It sure is. A lot of people, I mean, we try to do our best to insulate the racers from all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and for that matter, insulate our volunteer teams from all of the work that goes on behind the scenes. Really, my purpose and my goal with doing NOS was take kind of what had existed before and just create a format that could stay going for a really long time, could be sustainable, would probably be a better way to put it. You know, with me doing a lot of the grunt work behind the scenes, getting the permits, you know, dealing with insurance, creating courses, you know, kind of doing a little bit of people management, moving volunteer teams around and such, takes all that burden off the race teams so they can focus on, well, racing their bikes or putting on their own events. That just basically, what I wanted to do was just create a very, a similar experience at every race. So anyone who would come into our cycling community and do a mountain bike race on a whim could expect to have the best possible cycling race every time. So NOS turned into, hey, how can we take a concept that's been working for 25 years, make it a little bit better, and keep it around for as long as we can? And that's kind of what NOS has become.
I would agree. I mean, I've been to several of them. I thought they were very well organized. I thought everybody got along. I mean, it was an environment where people were competitive, but people were friendly and supportive of one another. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. But obviously, you don't do this by yourself. So you've got a team that are people helping you. How many people do you have who are actually, you know, who's your team? Yeah,
on the NOS side of things, I've got a handful of people that help me out. My good friend Matt Copeland helps us out with all the timing at every event. And I thank him dearly for that, because that was a challenge that I was not willing to try to conquer on top of everything else I was doing. So I appreciate Matt greatly for taking that up.
That's a tough job. We put Dave in charge of timing, but he's always late. So
yeah, that's too easy, boss.
Yeah, I know.
You're punching down.
I am punching down. I need to kick down and punch up.
But Dave actually made my wife cry at the first race of this season because
that would not surprise me.
I did not make her cry. I really did. Oh my god,
you did. What did you do? What did he do?
So funny story. Well, tangent here, but here we go. We were doing podiums, and Dave showed up outside of our 15-minute check-in window. And my wonderful wife is over taking podium pictures.
She is wonderful. I want that put on the record that I said that.
Yes, she is incredibly helpful. She was over there taking podium pictures because we were doing podiums for, I think, one of the short course races. And Dave screams over across the field, "Hey, can someone help me get registered over here? I got a race that starts in like 5 minutes." And my wife just gets all frazzled. She doesn't know what to do. I'm just like, go get Dave. Go get him in. And I'm just like, hit back, man. I'm like, gosh, dang it, Dave. What the hell?
I didn't know she cried. I'm sorry.
I don't know if she actually did, but that was her story. So, yeah, but that's classic Dave. And
I thought she liked me. I really did. But,
she does now. She enjoys you.
Well,
so.
Yeah, I mean, after therapy and medication, she finds you tolerable, I would say. I mean, that's probably more realistic.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, going back to my team, my lovely wife Kaylee.
Now let's stop for a second because James was just married in October and you just finished your honeymoon. Where'd you go?
We went to 2 locations. We started in Vegas for a few days, and then we flew down to Cancun. Did a week there, soaked up the sun. I didn't think about work or bike racing at all for a week, and then. Came back, and that next weekend we put on our most recent race, the Black Elk Blitz. So we got right back into things.
The first question I ask people when they get married is, so when are you having kids?
In the next half a decade is our plan. So
yeah, that was the first question that my grandmother actually asked me as I literally was at the reception. And I'm just like, are you...
Just tell her.
Have you been drinking already, Grandma?
Tell her with a wink, way ahead of you, Grandma.
Yeah, way ahead of you.
Talk to me next week.
Got that one knocked out there, Grandma.
Yep. We've got a little bit of time. We're still pretty young, but it's going to be coming up here in the near future.
And how old are you?
Well, I'm 25.
Oh, okay.
Jiminy Cricket, I got kids older than you.
I got shoes older than you. So, okay. Well, I mean, my oldest is 24. So, yeah.
I've got jerseys older than that.
Gosh.
I've seen those jerseys.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't wear those anymore. And so Kaylee's there, and then you have a sister-in-law?
Yes,
Sarah?
my sister-in-law, Sarah. She jumped on the team this year to help us as well. She came to a race at the end of last season, and she was like, this is awesome. I didn't know that this was as big as this is, and I would love to help out. And I said, you shouldn't have said that because now you're a volunteer.
Careful what you wish for.
Yep. So now she's been helping us out with some of the marketing stuff, our awards, and stuff along those lines. She's been a huge help with that.
Cool. So you got Matt. He does timing, and Sarah's helping out. What is Kayla's role?
So Kaylee, she is
Kaylee.
Yeah. So her primary role is kind of our social media. We'll call her an influencer, I guess. She's the one helping us make all the social media posts. I've been doing that for a long time, not very well. And she said that she would step up and do it. So she's been doing a lot of that this year. And then pretty much at every race you go to, you will see her and Sarah. They will probably be at the registration table checking racers in. So please give them a high five and a thank you for all that they do.
Agreed.
I said thank you.
And I apologize. So what does she do for a living?
My wife is a kindergarten teacher, so she knows she has the patience to put up with people like Dave.
Okay, so Dave.
100.
So
why was she crying? I don't get it now.
So Kaylee, if you see someone driving a big yellow bus and you recognize him as the guy who tortured you at the registration stand, that's someone that should be flagged down as not being around, should not be around kids.
No, let's just hang on for a second there.
What does Sarah do?
Sarah is I believe a sales manager at Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Nice. Okay, so you got some family members there, a buddy there, and then each race, and there are how many races are in the whole series?
We do 6 races each year.
Okay, and then each race has a cycling team that will sponsor the race or kind of provide extra support and stuff at each one of the locations.
Yes, we call it hosting the race.
Okay.
So what each cycling team does is they help us set up the race on Friday. They help us basically put the race on Saturday and tear the race down on Saturday as well. So they're basically providing all the manpower that I don't have on my team that we definitely need to make the races happen. So
Yeah, because it takes honestly 2-3 hours to set it up because you got all these stakes and tape and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to clear things out and then
Dave,
you got to tear it
how
all
many
down.
of these races have you raced, Dave? You've done a couple of these races?
I've pretty much done all the NOS races, maybe minus a couple. The last one I missed, I don't know why. I just wasn't there.
Hungover, brown bottle flu?
No. Well,
you guys were on Bran.
I think yeah, that's right.
Oh, we
Maybe
were on Bran.
we should talk about Bran.
Yeah, because he did Bran a couple
I
times.
used to be Dave on Bran for 3 years.
Yeah, he told me
did
some
you really?
great Bran
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
they're
so
hilarious.
the Branimals,
you
my
know,
favorite people.
you get a
Branimals.
bike that you saw last year getting
yeah.
fixed again for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time since the year before.
Yep. Oh yes.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it was always a ball. I mean, I did it when I was much younger. That's a relative term here. But
Younger.
Younger.
But it was a bunch of fun. It was a week of every summer that I looked forward to and enjoyed. I mean, the first year I did it was the year they went from south to north on the east side of state instead of doing the west to east route. So that was kind of an interesting year to start
weird.
on.
Where'd they start?
Oh gosh, what is the name of the town?
Ainsworth or something?
So it's there's the 1-lane bridge way down there on the south east corner of the state.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
I can't remember the name of the town, but we went all the way up to the Indian Reservation on the north east side of Nebraska, and it was
Not
a
the
cool
Pine
route.
Ridge. Are you talking about the Winnebago?
Yes.
The Winnebago? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I rode Brand 7.
Really?
6 and 7.
Wow.
And that was way back in the 80s. So it was a long time ago. That dates me a lot. I was 16 and 17 years old when I did that. But that was my first introduction to Brand.
Yeah.
But, I still enjoyed it immensely. It was a great ride. We started in Alliance and then Scottsbluff one time. So it was good. They were both good rides. But it's a fun environment. It's a different type of riding, obviously, than the
Most
NOS.
definitely.
The NOS is a little bit more competitive, obviously. It's more mountain biking. But all the teams that host, let's talk about that. Name the race and the host.
Okay. First race of the year is the Swanson Shootout. That is in April. And Harvest Racing has been our host team for that race for the last 3 years.
Okay.
In May, the last 2 years, we have the Calvin Krist Crankfest, long name. But Omaha Velo
Yeah.
has been our sponsoring team for
Yep,
that.
I knew that.
For
Our
the
buddy
last
Brad
3 years.
Oildfield.
Yep, Brad Oilfield.
He looks like he works in one too.
I called the dude Oilfield one time because I was tired and I was just like, oh, it was
we're
one
not
of those
letting
days.
you go. We're not
and they
letting you go.
they keep calling him Mr. Oilfield every time he comes in, and I'm like,
Brad's a great guy.
I'm like, dude, I was just looking at the commodities on the market. I mean, come on, give me a break, right? You know, I'm looking at these things.
That's another guy. Give him a high five if you see him being the trail leader out at Calvin Crest. He does a lot of work out there. Too,
Oh, yeah.
so.
He's a hard worker. He is.
Yep.
And then the next one is
This year, it was our first year at Black Elk Park up in Blair,
Okay.
and Team Chaos put that one on. They
Nice.
have been they've been on all 3 years as well. They used to do the Lewis and Clark Crusher, but we did the Black Elk Blitz this year instead. In Lincoln, we've had a couple. We had CycleWorks help us out with that for a year. We had the Lancaster Composite team help us down there. And this year, actually, the Cornhusker State Games is going to be hosting that entire race.
Okay.
So you won't
Now
hear
that's
me
a
on the
Branch
mic.
Oak, right?
Yes, it sure is.
Area 7 or 11?
7.
7, okay.
I don't even know if 11 is still there.
Oh, people don't ride 11 anymore?
Not that I know of.
Oh,
But
okay.
I've heard there's a plan to bring it back. That's enough.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so Cornhusker State Games, they host the race. You won't hear me on the mic. You probably won't even see me there. But that's going to be the next event on our schedule. Then in August, we have the Millard Composite and Millard West cycling teams. They help us put on traditionally what's been our Tranquility Weekend. But this year it's going to be at Lake Manawa. So the Lake Manawa Sand Sizzler in August.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Dave, why do you think you saw me there? Come on.
Oh, I
so Mac is.
I just thought it was random.
Mac and Claire are on the Millard West Composite.
They sure are. I'm going to put them to work.
Oh,
Awesome.
I didn't know Mac was on a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then the last race of the year, and arguably our biggest, is going to be at the end of September. We actually have the group of individuals who take care of Platte River State Park, the group of volunteers out there. They are going to be our host team this year for that event. And that is Thor Trail Fest.
Right.
We do the racing part of that event. So
Nice.
that'll be the last event of the year for us.
I heard
Another
a
group of
rumor-
guys we're getting on here to talk about some of the Thor stuff.
The
Yeah.
Thor guys?
Yeah.
I happen to be a board member. So if you want to talk a little bit, I can give you a little flavor of what
Well,
I'm sure
I-
Jason will tell you.
Yeah, I talked with Jason on the phone, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I had a couple, and he was telling me about what was up in Sioux City.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
Cone Park.
Yep.
Just got opened.
Just
Yep.
got opened. And we were on
Any
brand.
plans to go up there?
Oh, I would love to. We
It is
actually
far, though.
We were in talks of doing an event up there this year. That's definitely going to be on the radar for
But
next
you know,
year.
you'd get a lot of Iowa people, so all the you might not get as many from around here, but maybe you would. It's
Well,
the new
and-
kid on the block.
From what I've heard, it's I still have yet to get up there. I've got plans to get up there, but I've heard it's a wonderful trail. So
I mean, you could even do a little different format because I understand they have like some downhill runs or something like that. So maybe it could be some kind of enduro format or whatever.
yeah,
You know,
there's definitely a market for that.
There's
Well-
a huge market for enduro racing. I've talked with a couple people about it. In fact, for all our audience out there, our soundboard dude, his name is True, and the guy is the bomb when it comes to doing all this stuff for us. We couldn't do it without True, so we need to actually throw.
we don't know how to plug stuff in.
So a big.
There we go. Much better.
True. There we go. That's the one I wanted for True right there.
All
Okay,
right.
so.
He did that himself.
He
Just so
did,
you know.
so,
Totally.
but his dad's been in planning and stuff like that. He's planning when he was there out in Des Moines, and he planned a lot of events and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of experience. And I talked to him about doing some enduro, and he's like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool because there's a lot of people who want to do it. And I was thinking, well, the smart concept would have NOS throw one or two in a year. It's a different group of people, obviously. So you could 1 week, 2 weeks later, you got a NOS race, and then 2 weeks earlier, in between. Something like that. I think there's definitely people who want to do it. And it's hard to find a location in this area, obviously.
Yep, and we've definitely heard from those people. We've had a large handful of people reach out saying, "Hey, are you guys ever gonna do an enduro event?" Or, "Hey, are you guys gonna you're the off-road series? You're gonna do cyclocross? You're gonna do gravel? Or you're gonna do this or that?" And at this point in time, we're kind of staying true to the 6 event schedule, just because it is a lot of events a year.
Sure.
But I think enduro, there's a couple kind of grassroots events happening around town right now, or one in particular, and I think if there's a market for it, we would definitely be interested in supporting those riders and letting them race.
Yeah, there's just so many different styles of racing that people can do between the gravels and everything like that, and the cyclocross. And I know Velo puts on a cyclocross. It's definitely a different demographic, a different style of race. But a lot of the same people I saw at NOS's and stuff. People show up. People just want to compete and have a good time. They want to ride. That's all they want to do.
Yeah, there's some crossover in the racers.
Sure. Yeah.
I would 100% agree.
But you were talking about like the whole feel of the mountain bike race, and it's a different feel between cross and like a road crit or
right
or a mountain bike race. A mountain bike race, everyone's serious when the flag drops, but after that it's like beers and stories, and it's all just it's fine. Everyone's cool.
I think I mean obviously there's room for expansion. The biggest thing is manpower.
Of course.
Yeah, and money, right?
Oh, definitely.
So speaking of money, we're going to take a break, and we're going to get a word from our sponsor, the Bikeway. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the sponsors for NOS. So we'll be back in a flash. All right, we're going to take a second here to give a shout-out to our sponsor, the Bikeway. For a quarter century, the Bikeway has been the premier destination for all things cycling in Omaha and beyond. With a legacy of passion, dedication, and community. Discover the latest and greatest from top brands like Giant, Liv, Transition, Santa Cruz, Scott, Bianchi, Sunday BMX, and DK. We've got the perfect ride to fuel your adventure. More than just a shop, explore our extensive selection of apparel and accessories. And the Bikeway Certified Service Department has you covered. From basic maintenance to suspension work to custom builds and everything in between. And while you're here, treat yourself to a delicious cup of coffee. As a rider-owned and operated establishment, you can trust that we're dedicated to providing the best possible experience for fellow enthusiasts like you. So join us at the Bikeway, where every ride is an adventure. Here's to 25 years of riding together and many, many more. All right, and we are back. So, once again, we are with James Krist with NOS and with my co-host, Dave Randleman, a.k.a. FDR. He's here with us as well, which is always enjoyable for me because, as you can tell, Dave and I, we have a good time doing this, interviewing interesting people and finding more things out about Omaha racing. But first thing I want to do is, James, I want to ask you, obviously, to put this type of event on, it's time consuming. There's a lot of behind the scenes work, but also there's a huge financial component to it where you got to have some funds to do it. So let's give a shout out to your sponsors that have been helping the NOS.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I want to just start by thanking all of our sponsors and say thank you so much for the time, money, and effort you've put into us. We hope we are supporting you as well as you are supporting us because you are what makes bike racing happen. So we'll start with M Grills and Blazing Grills as well as Kinney Manufacturing.
There, look at that.
And Industrial Made. That group of 4 brands has been some of our biggest supporters from the very beginning. The NOS trailer that you guys have seen, they gave us that. So thanks to them for all of their continued support.
Doesn't that guy race too?
We love barbecue.
Yes. I'll shout him out. Randy Kinney. He's a marathon rider. He is a heck of a dude. My wife loves to call him my Daddy Warbucks because every single cycling event I have ever put on, Mr. Kinney has helped fund it in one way or another.
Nice.
And he is a huge supporter of local cycling. So once again, give that guy a high five if you ever see him.
And what specifically is his business? He's the grill.
Yes, so he's got a handful in the portfolio, but M Grills and Blazing Grills, Kinney Manufacturing, which is they will cut any part you want, bend it for large mass orders. Industrial Made is another company that they have, which is an air purification system for industrial plants, of course.
Nice.
And they have a couple other brands in the portfolio as well. So he's based out of Lincoln and Beatrice, where all these manufacturing companies are, and he loves pretty much all types of racing. So he is a great supporter of local cycling.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And everybody, if you're out there, if you're looking for any of those things, then, support some of these sponsors. That's the whole thing. The sponsors are kind of supporting everything we're doing in cycling in the Omaha metro area. So throw them a bone once in a while. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, and M Grills. That's the way to support them. Those are kind of your high end wood grill. Your charcoal or wood grills.
Yep.
They
like
are
a smoker type thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
they make smokers as well as grills. They are awesome. We had a few of them at the races last year, and those are some nice pieces of equipment. So that's the way to support them. Next up, we have Arkfeld Wealth Strategies. They came on this year as kind of our timing sponsor.
Okay.
They, of course, do wealth planning and those types of activities. So if you've got money and you need somewhere smart to put it, go talk to Arkfeld Wealth Strategies.
Okay.
I beat him last week, by the way. I'm just saying.
Oh, here we go. Rivalry. Next up, we have Nebraska Lottery. They've been a very, very, very long time sponsor of local mountain bike racing all the way back to the early Psychopath days.
Oh, yeah.
So all your podium prizes now come with Nebraska Lottery scratch-off tickets. So that's how you support the Nebraska Lottery, and they like to support outdoor activities in
Win
Nebraska.
a bike race, win a truck. Come on, man. Let's do it.
They handed a few out at the Crank Fest. I believe I saw some people winning $20, $15 here and there. So
That's gas money getting home back to Omaha.
exactly.
There
I mean,
you go.
that's good stuff right there.
I have
Next
a
up,
hybrid, so I don't use gas.
Oh, is that right, Jedi Master?
Yes, it is.
Nobody knew that.
they weren't giving out trucks and bucks, which I was a little,
come
that was my
on.
childhood one.
Yeah.
My dad would always come home with the trucks and bucks.
That'd be
Maybe
good.
next year. Next up, Baxter Subaru. They came on last year when we got our trailer, and they help us house that trailer and keep us shaded during the races. You'll
Nice.
see those tents at all the events. And last but not least, we got Revolution Wraps. They wrapped our trailer, of course, and they are once again a very large supporter of local cycling.
Aren't they down in Lincoln?
Yes, they have a location in Lincoln as well as up here in Omaha.
I don't know if you know Sydney Brown, but she was kind of a
sure
big
do.
deal back in the day. Still is, if you're listening, Sydney. But she bought an old cop car and used it as like a race vehicle, and then
Oh, really?
she got it wrapped with Revolution wraps, and it was like
That's fantastic.
It was like free. It was the coolest like race vehicle. It was a cop car, man.
Yeah.
An old Crown Vic.
Yep.
So what you ought to do is get something like that with like the old Blues Brothers.
Oh,
Got
dude,
with the
it
megaphone
was
on
the
top.
best,
Yeah.
man.
That would
It
be
even
like
had the light thing, you know. No, it
Wow.
was so
that would
cool.
be legit if you could do something like that.
Right.
Just
Cop motor, cop brakes.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And they're a great company. So if you have any need for a wrap on your vehicle, trailer, signage as well, get with them. So.
okay, all right.
Oh, and last but not least, I forgot a big one. SRAM. They have just come on halfway through the season here.
Awesome.
The Big Red brand is going to be supporting the Nebraska Off-Road Series. They are once again coming on board to help us with our timing system and get us a new solution for that.
Nice.
So thanks to them, and thanks to them for supporting local cycling.
Here's an idea.
I've been trying to get Dan the SRAM man on for
Oh,
a while
yeah.
now, but he's busy. He's
Oh, we gotta
busier than a
get Dan
one-legged
on.
man. in
That
a
is a
butt
busy
picking
man.
contest.
Maybe we could get a crank, and if you win Crankfest, follow me along here.
I'm liking where you're going.
I know.
I can name every race a bike part, and then we just give them out along
I
the
know
way.
that.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Now we're talking. Dave, you're on the marketing team
There
now.
we go. There we go. Just make I mean, if you have Dave on the marketing team, just make sure you tell him it starts at 5:00, and then you guys don't show up till 5:30.
And we'll probably
he'll
proofread
be there.
everything,
He'll probably be
too.
there 5
Yeah.
minutes after you.
I'm good at proofreading.
Actually, Dave is very good at proofreading.
That doesn't surprise me.
I was a best speller in fourth grade. Fact.
He's actually has a journalism degree.
That also doesn't surprise me. I did not know that.
He's
Dave.
he doesn't tell people that. He's very well read.
Oh yeah.
He is.
I mean, he likes bird watching, so the guy's cultured.
Right? I mean, every time I have a question about birds, I actually send him a picture like, hey, what the hell is this in my yard?
You and everybody else are like, what is this? I'm like, oh my God.
And then I send him interesting articles about birds that people find. Like there was a rare bird in Oregon that they saw, and they're like,
Oh,
well,
yeah, I already. Yeah.
And I forwarded that to him.
Literally,
like, hey, check this
12
out.
people sent me that one,
Okay.
including my Aunt
So
Margaret.
that just tells you the love people have
Yeah,
for Dave.
right.
You know
Exactly.
what kind of text
Exactly.
messages I get? F you, go pound sand, things like that. And Dave
just get,
gets
hey, can you
love
pick up some
and
groceries,
birds
you know, that
and
type of stuff, yeah.
Thank God I don't work in sanitation, right? Hey-oh.
So I got an idea for the end of year. You get M Grill.
Mm-hmm.
Go get a sponsorship with Fairbury Hot Dogs.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Oh my God.
And then get Cross Strain and Pint 9 to
Yep.
come and bring in beverages. And at the end of the year, you have a monster event like that.
Yeah.
And do it as a fundraiser so you can raise funds to get things going for the next year.
Yeah, we've done something similar to that. I mean, Tranquility last year, we had the M Grills out there, and we were doing a little grill out, just free will donation or whatever. And that's always fun to do at races because there's nothing better after a race than some cheap food to chow down on.
Big burger and a hot dog or a brat. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember on all the psychopath races. What was it, Dave Packard? Remember?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Dave would just sit there and just make hamburgers like for 2
all
hours.
day.
Yep. Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
So with all the things that are going on and all the sponsors you have, there's obviously a detailed process about what you guys are doing. Tell me about that.
I'll try to keep it short because once again, I think we've already mentioned this, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have put on bike races and know, bits and pieces of this, but there's definitely a process. And since we are a USA Cycling sanctioned events, that kind of guides the process quite a bit. So our process starts all the way back at the end of the season, usually anywhere between September and November. We start checking around with other local groups in the communities that put on races, as well as in the surrounding areas, and start putting our schedule together. We try to find...
Like a regional calendar?
Yeah, most definitely.
To make sure you don't step on each other's toes.
As best as we can.
Yeah.
People love to step on our toes. I won't name names, but I try to do my best to reach out to other organizations and get their calendars early so we can not conflict. Because in my mind, there's no reason we should conflict. We're limiting opportunities for people to go race bikes. So I would rather have every weekend filled instead of having 2 races on the same weekend.
And in speaking of getting, the races filled and getting people there, obviously you have your core group of people, your race teams that are hosting events. You got when I've been there, I see 6, 7, 8 different teams. I see some Nike kids there.
Oh yeah,
I see a whole bunch of stuff. But let's pretend for a second that I just learned how to ride a bike, and I'm interested in racing, but I've never done it before. Is there something special for me?
Oh yeah. So that's one of the beautiful things of the Nebraska Off-Road Series is we definitely have great racing for the people that are at the top of the sport locally. But we also try to create awesome opportunities for those who are just wanting to get into it or those who just want to try it out. Between our short course races and our beginner or Cat 3 races, I think they're an awesome start to try out just bike racing in general.
So explain Cat 3, because someone who's a novice or they're just getting into it, they may not understand what that term means.
Yeah, so that kind of comes from USA Cycling. They have ability levels or categories, and CAT is just category for short. In mountain biking, 3 is your beginner category, 2 is your intermediate, and then 1 is your highest level that you can go to, besides going pro or UCI, of course. But yeah, so everyone who comes to our races who hasn't raced before starts with a Cat 3 race just to try it out. It's a shorter race. Our short course race is 20 minutes long. And then if they do the cross-country event instead, those laps range anywhere from, I would say, 20 to 40 minutes long. So it's a short, quick race to really get your feet wet. And I usually say if you've ever been competitive in your entire life, this is an awesome opportunity to get into the cycling community. It's very, low stress. My wonderful wife and sister-in-law, Sarah, will hook you up at registration, tell you everything you need to know, and get you onto the race course so you can be out there banging bars with everyone else on the race course.
And at those races, you're handling, on top of everything else, you're handling all the announcing too.
I am, yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'll hire Dave out. I don't.
I used to do the announcing.
Just give him some. You throw some popcorn at him or in a beer or two.
Popcorn and High Life.
No, they used to always tell me don't get too drunk.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
Yeah. I've seen you both ways.
Yeah. But come on, you gotta have fun, man. And those kids are just sitting there, just make fun of them. It's so easy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's funny because on Brand, I watched Dave. People just started kind of hovering around him because he was joking and making. You got to kind of have the fun while you're working.
Oh
right?
yeah, you're out there all day.
And that announcer, people are listening, they're paying attention. But if you're the person with a microphone, I mean, I could tell you, sitting here with this podcast. Sometimes some people have difficulty just talking. And the kicker is it's just people like Dave who talk naturally. I mean, you can't get the guy to shut up most of the time. So when he does finally shut up, you think, well, what's wrong? Right? So has he got brown bottle flu again? I mean, is that the case? So, okay, so you do all that as well on top of everything. So do you ever get to enjoy the race or actually race?
I tried Our very first year, I tried racing at Tranquility, and it happened. But at this point,
It happened.
At this point in time, I would say for the event to run smoothly, I need to be off the bike.
Okay.
And that's kind of I don't want to say a sacrifice, but a decision I've made to keep our volunteer team pretty small and to keep the events running smoothly. You'll see me, I've got an earpiece in at the events, listening to the USA Cycling officials, my timing guy, Matt. Registration might be asking me questions. We might have a volunteer out on course that's switching the course between races. And I got an ear on all of that and making sure it's all happening in sync when it needs to be, while trying to call people out as they come across the line, give color commentary and everything in between.
And we've been at we've taken the Bikeway Beast out there and just kind of worked on anyone who needed help. We worked on their bikes and stuff like that. We've just been a little bit short staffed this year to be able to do all the events we wanted to do this year, but we're kind of planning for next year to be able to do that, just to be able to provide that service to give. Man, something goes wrong at the last second.
And by service, we mean take up 4 parking spaces.
Yes. Well, it's 37 feet long. It's going to be more than 4, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. But
not the way I park.
Yeah, true. But so yeah, there's a lot of different things more that can go on. I get it. Sometimes you got to sacrifice what you're doing because you have a bigger mission at hand.
Yeah. So and that's another thing about races. I'm sorry to any racer who hasn't got their name called out as they come across the line. I do my best to call you guys out and give you a shout out for all your hard efforts during the race. But yeah, I do my best to kind of keep it all in line, and we're working internally on the NOS team to kind of get some of that responsibility off my shoulders and onto some other people, so I can either just be on the mic or hand the mic off to someone else and just be running the show.
So I'm new. I want to ride. Someone's listens to this and they're down in St. Joe or Des Moines or Sioux City or maybe Grand Island or Kearney, and they hear this podcast and like, man, I didn't even know about the NOS. I want to. This would be kind of cool. Where do they go? Where do they find out about you? Yeah,
to get every bit of information you'd ever want on the Nebraska Off-Road Series, go to neoffroadseries.com. That'll give you everything on how we run the series, how each event runs, and we even have each event page on there so you can find the location. We'll have trail maps for you, schedules, all that type of stuff.
What's it cost to register for a race?
It depends. Our highest registration for our fast guys is $35, and juniors are as cheap as $10.
Who doesn't have $10?
Exactly.
Right?
These kids today have so much money. I mean,
Good Lord. There's no.
have you seen the phones they have?
Have you seen the cars they have?
Yeah, their parents are just...
Yeah, I'm jealous of some of these 16-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, like, man, do you know what it took for me to work long enough to be able to buy the car I wanted? And these kids are driving around in BMWs. I'm just like... I didn't do that with my kids. I had the money to buy them those cars. I'm like, no, hell no. You got to work on it. I'm going to give you a junker car the first bet.
I thought I was so cool rolling up to bike races with my bikes on the top of my Oldsmobile. I thought it was so cool.
That kind of was cool.
I'm glad because for a long time I thought it was
so
pretty
uncool
cool.
that it was cool.
Exactly.
Yes. It's like showing up in the Batmobile. It's like, what? That's cool.
So neoffroadseries.com.
That is us.
All right. So anybody out there who hears this, I would highly encourage you to road trip, come and do it, come ride, neoffroadseries.com. It'll tell you everything you need to know. You can register. It is a fun environment. I've been to several of them, and everybody's having a good time. It's a friendly environment. There's always someone there to help. If you got questions, I always had people be like, "Hey, here you go," you know.
But definitely bring bug spray, is what I'm saying.
I would agree.
Yeah, we're in the woods.
If you're if you're especially the Platte River. You know,
also, it is BYOB, but definitely.
Yeah, BYOB. Yeah. Unless you're
bring your own bug spray.
Unless you're a Nix racer or a Nika racer. You can't do that.
That's their dad's job.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
Bring your own punch. I don't know.
Bring your own. I don't even know.
Bring your own beverage. It just happens to be a soda. It's not an adult barley pop. It's a regular classic.
There you go.
Soda.
I don't even want to come now. This is ridiculous.
Water would be good too.
Okay.
Water's actually pretty good.
And we also tell people, if you got a friend racing, come on down. We're trying to do a lot this year to provide a better experience for spectators as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
we've had a lot of parents say, "Oh, this is great, but I'm just standing here at the finish line watching my kid." So, M Grills and Blazing Grills have been helping us out with the Handlebar Hangout this year, which is an area kind of further into the trail that we guide people towards, so they can get a much better view of what's actually happening during the race.
Very cool.
I'm pushing short track pretty hard because that gets a lot more spectator engagement, of course. So, yeah, even if you're not racing, come on down, just see the spectacle, that I should say, that is the Nebraska Off-Road Series.
I can't agree more. I mean, if you get a chance to come and see it, even if you have any affiliation with anyone who's racing, come check it out. It is a great event, and you might actually find something like, hey, how can I volunteer and help? Because they're always looking for people to help. So if you've got time and energy and you want to be a part of something that's really a good program and benefits just a lot of things, come check it out. So, well, listen, James, I want to tell you, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you taking the time. Been wanting to get you in here. I wanted to get you in before the season started so we could kind of, show the whole thing in advance. Got some more races coming up. There's still time for people to enter, but maybe at the end of the year we can get a wrap up or at least get you before we have the new season coming out, and we can talk about all the new things coming down the pipeline and get that out to everybody, and hopefully we'll have more people listening to it and checking out online and signing up. So that would be ideal. That would
be great. Yeah. So, and I appreciate you having me. And I'll just do a quick plug. We got 3 races left on the season. We have the Cornhusker State Games on July 13th.
Okay.
We have the new venue this year, Lake Manawa Sand Sizzler, on August 3rd.
Nice.
And the last race of the year, big one, is Thor Trail Fest on September 29th. That is a Sunday, but we will be racing on Sunday. So,
and where is that?
That is at Platte River State Park.
There you go.
Day before my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be there.
So, yeah, if you've got time and you got a mountain bike, come on down.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, you going to be there?
I will definitely be there. And I'll try to be early, and I'm really sorry about making your wife cry.
Yeah. We'll work on him.
I really do like her. She is lovely.
9 times out of 10, we have Dave in a cage with a sign that says, please don't feed the animals.
Yeah, just truing wheels back there in a cage.
Yeah, you just leave them alone.
But just like at the zoo, man, people don't read that sign.
They don't. And
they don't read it.
They don't.
They're just like, here's some popcorn,
poking that
Dave.
Badger with a spoon, and it's just not.
Now I feel bad for Dave. Jeez, man.
I do too.
I don't. Not 1 ounce of me feels bad for Dave.
You don't know what it's like to work here, man.
You reap what you sow.
There's so much grease.
So, Dave, next time we're going to talk. We're going to be getting into the Tour de France. Ooh. So I hope Le Tour.
Oh, man.
So hopefully we're going to discuss that. Plus, there was a great Netflix special that was recently on. It's a 30 for 30 by ESPN. That was Lance Armstrong. Very, very interesting. But
Dave visibly is not a Lance fan.
No. I totally agree with you. But before we do that, I highly encourage you to watch the Netflix special called Icarus.
Oh, I've watched Icarus.
Have you seen it?
I've watched Icarus a few times. It's disturbing.
Right, it is.
It is really disturbing.
We're gonna get more into the. You're always welcome to come back. If we're gonna have a conversation like that, just you've got our information. If you want to jump in on the conversation, who doesn't want to talk about the tour?
Yeah,
right? James
pick.
can lay down some power on the Krist
I think everybody at one point actually looked at the Tour de France as a kid, and I think it was an inspirational part to them becoming or getting into cycling. There was something about it that made
definitely
them say, hey.
People from our generation, but the newer kids really not so much. It's more the Red Bull.
Yeah, the Red Bull
YouTube
Rampage.
stuff,
And we'll get some of that too.
They've got different heroes, man.
Yeah. So early pick, Dave. Who you got?
Yeah, and we might actually have.
You just have to like Pogačar because everyone else is banged up, and he is in fuego.
What about Sepp Kuss?
No, they won't let him do it.
So, but when we talk about that, we might actually get.
That might happen.
We might get Troy.
Oh yeah,
who's big on the tour.
He knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
What's his last name?
It's True's dad.
What's his last name?
You know his brother.
Tellinghausen.
You know his brother Seth.
Oh, okay. I know Seth. Yeah. Okay.
That's his dad.
I didn't know.
Seth and
it's
True
not like
brothers.
They're walking around with name tags.
Hey, Seth, if you're out there, just want you to know
They're
that
just one
we
other
actually
long-haired
respect
hippie. That's all I
True
can say.
more than you because last race you lost. And so we're kind of disappointed in you,
Yeah,
brother.
you got to win that sprint next time.
Yeah,
Seth.
I mean, come on, Seth.
Come on.
Drew's sitting here going, "Hey, make fun of my brother because he deserves it." And I'm like, "I don't want to do that." And he's like, "No, seriously." Drew's so quiet; he won't say anything.
Controversy brings in the listeners.
It does. It does.
Good job, Seth.
Little bit drama. Yeah,
But you should have had that one.
yeah, exactly. So we'll probably have that going on, but
That sounds awesome.
and that's going to bring us to the end of another fantastic episode of Spokespeople Podcast. I am your co-host, Dave, with your other co-host, Dave. And we want to thank James for coming out today with the Nebraska Off-Road Series. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, keep riding.